Welcome to our video. My name is Yianni Palios. I'm one of the financial planners and principals at OzPlan Financial Services, Mitcham. Today we're going to talk about navigating aged care with the most recent updates in the aged care system's costings. A small disclaimer here, this presentation is for education purposes only and should not be taken as financial advice. I have not met you, nor do I know your personal circumstances, so please do not act on this as advice and seek professional advice from a financial planner. So, aged care, what will you pay? In the aged care system, there are 4 different pillars of fees and charges. We have what are called accommodation costs. So these accommodation costs cover the 4 walls you'd be residing in. Now this can come in the form of either a refundable accommodation deposit or an RAD, or a daily fee known as a DAP, or a combination of both. If you choose to pay a daily fee, you'd be charged 8.42% interest on the outstanding RAD. On the other hand, if the RAD is paid in full, you would no longer have to pay a DAP, as the refundable deposit would be fully offset. Now, there are 2 types of residents. You've got market payers who are subject to either the RAD or the DAP, or you have what are called low means or supported residents, which is where the government assesses your means and can determine that potentially you may not be subject to, or may be subject to, a smaller contribution towards your cost of care. These are known as equivalents, RAC and DAC. RAC being refundable accommodation contribution, and the DAC being daily accommodation contribution. We then have what's called a basic daily fee, which everybody pays. Now this is currently set at 85% of the age pension rate, the single rate that is, which is equivalent to about $63.57 per day, and that's indexed twice yearly. Now please note as well, these fees are on a per person basis as well. Now the basic daily fee pays for everyday living expenses such as laundry, meals and utilities. We then have what's called a means-tested fee. So the means-tested fee is based on your income and assets by Services Australia. So you'd be required, or potentially be required, to complete a Centrelink form, either an SA 457 form if you are self-funded, or a SA 485 form if you are a homeowner on the age pension. If you are a non-homeowner, so you're renting and you're on the age pension, you don't have to complete either of these forms. Now, there are annual and lifetime caps applicable to this fee, so whether or not you'd be charged the fee would be determined by Centrelink. They'd be looking at both your assets and income, and if, for example speaking, you're contributing towards this means-tested care fee, an annual cap of $34,176.16 applies, or a lifetime cap of $82,018.15. Finally, you may or may not be required to pay an extra services fee, so each facility will have a different fee. Now this can cover essentially your wines, foxtails, newspapers, as well as any additional sort of activities such as Tai Chi or your yogas. Now, when we're helping our clients, essentially what we're wanting to do is assess what the cost of care will be from day one without us providing any advice or making you aware of your options. So in this example here with the client, option 1 was their current financial position. We haven't optimized their position whatsoever. And then we look at option 2 in this scenario where we've optimized their position, and in this case we've paid the refundable deposit, which alleviated some of that daily accommodation payment, albeit some of the savings were offset by a higher means-tested care fee. But overall, as you can see, we were able to generate a much greater cash flow outcome for the clients in the current legislative period. So we specifically look at your position. We identify areas that we can improve. We make you aware of different funding options you have available and provide that education piece around, okay, well, this is what you can do. This is how it's going to impact your aged care fees. This is how it's going to impact your age pension entitlements if you are entitled to it. And then from there, we can look at alternatives and other areas of advice we can potentially add value. Now, there are changes coming into effect from the 1st of July 2025. So if you're a new entrant into aged care and you've signed a contract after the 1st of July 2025, the aged care fees look to potentially be increasing. So what we're seeing is a lot more or a higher influx of individuals trying to get into residential aged care on a permanent basis prior to the 1st of July 2025. And what we've run here is a like-for-like client prior to the 1st of July being on the left day one position and post 1st of July on the right-hand side. And as you can see, there's about a $3,000 difference in their annual cost of care. So it's a worse position for the client signing on after the 1st of July. Now, we've got to be specific here that this is a specific case we've run. So every individual will have a different outcome, and it's important that we review your specific circumstances in private to determine whether or not it is beneficial to move into aged care prior to the 1st of July or post the 1st of July. But we're definitely seeing that there are additional costs involved. The government's wanting you to take control and potentially contribute a greater amount towards the cost of your care. And we're seeing a few additional changes in terms of the retention of the RAD. So previously, or in the current financial year, the RAD is fully refundable back to the estate or to yourself if you are to remove yourself from the contract. Changes are coming into effect from the 1st of July where there would be retentions on the RAD, and that's capped up to, I believe, 10% over a 5-year period. So essentially there are going to be significant changes, and we highly suggest speaking to a professional on reviewing your circumstances. So how we can help, we can have an initial consultation where we look at and present a number of different funding options to you. Now, these funding options are not advice. We're purely giving you awareness and making you understand how the aged care system works and how it can impact your financials depending on how you could choose to fund it. Moving on from there, we can provide a more tailored approach using an options paper where we look at a 5-10 year projection of your financial position, running a range of different funding options. So it's giving you a greater understanding and idea of, okay, well, how is this transition to aged care really going to impact not only my finances now, but also my estate. Finally, if you're wanting us to provide financial advice, that is us recommending how you should fund it, in particular, how you should restructure your assets, then we're looking at providing what's called a statement of advice. So our recommendations would be forming part of a legal document along with our projections and evidence to essentially back up our advice. So all three have different costings, and I highly suggest giving our office a call or sending me an email if you have any further questions in regards to either the aged care system, entering aged care, or the services that we can offer you and your family. Thank you.